Hi, I'm Lois Frankel, member of Congress from Florida with my good friend Susan Brooks from Indiana. We are honored to be together because we co-sponsor bills and lots of efforts to advance women and girls in the world. And today, we advance what I call a game changer for the world. There are 130 million girls around the world who are not in school. And what all the research shows is that when girls are educated, their families are healthier, their countries are safer and more prosperous. And so today we advanced a bill called the Keeping Girls in School Act, which focuses on strategies for USAID to advance girls, to remove the obstacles that are keeping young girls from going to school. And I'm going to let Representative Brooks tell you about those.
Well, thank you, Lois, and I'm really just so pleased to be working with my good friend Lois Frankel. We've done some really important work together, and we need to make sure now that as this bill heads over to the Senate, that Senator Murkowski and Senator Shaheen can also get the Keeping Girls in School Act through the Senate. And what this bill does is it takes the foreign aid that USAID and PEPFAR and the Millennial Challenge Corporation and others, Peace Corps, and make sure that they have a strategy around the money that the U.S. foreign aid ensures that we're keeping girls in school, particularly through high school. Often girls can go to school when they're little and when they're younger, but they are often forced out of school when they get to middle school and high school. We know that often they're not safe, for instance, when they travel to school. We know they might be forced into childhood marriages. We know that they might be forced to go to work and drop out of school. But yet, as Lois just said, we know that when they stay in high school, these 130 million girls around the world will just have far better outcomes, not only for their own for themselves, their families, their communities, and for the world. And I think, and you mentioned on the House floor, the incredible voice for girls in education is Malala, the Pakistani 15-year-old at the time who was shot by the Taliban as she was returning from school. And in her recovery, she became an activist and a voice for girls and for people around the world to realize how important it is to stay in school. Children's Museum in Indianapolis is going to honor her with the Power of Children Award, and we want to continue to raise up how important her voice is and giving us kind of the strength and to push and to keep our government focused on keeping girls in school. And so that's what this is about.
And what was so, I thought, glorious about today is we saw a bipartisan effort with sponsors that we also have in the Senate. And I will say that the men came in and they stood up for their daughters, and they really, I thought they were very articulate and thoughtful in their comments. 130 million girls out of school. That's what I said on the floor, was there's 130 million reasons why we need to pass this bill. And why do we care here in America? Because when other countries are safer and more prosperous, the whole world gets safer and more prosperous.
So we're getting this out of the House. We need to get it over to the Senate and get this signed into law. And we look forward to our colleagues across the Capitol and then at the White House signing this into law.